Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Forza Horizon 5. I played on the Xbox Series X. It's also available on the Xbox Series S, Xbox One, and PC. So let's start with the basics. The story is pretty much the same as what they've been doing for a while now, which is you are there for the Horizon Festival. You're the head of the Horizon Festival is what it always seems like. But this time it's in Mexico. And one little unique thing they did do is your event planners and guides and whatnot, they have their own little story-ish elements, and you can do certain races tied to those. So I guess you could say there is a bit of a story, but it's not like, you know, a really truly story-driven game. So let's get into the audio, and the voiceover work is well done for the radio stations, the characters, etc. I think that works well for the game. It's not that it needs to be necessarily deeply emotional or anything, so it's fairly good and fairly easy, I guess. As for the sound effects, I think the sound effects are really well done, especially when there are the storm elements. I thought those were really cool. Early on, there were some sandstorms, and then there were like rainstorms. I was really impressed by those, as well as the different sounds of the cars and, you know, the different cars while you're racing. I thought that was really impressive, as well as like jungle sounds. Just in general, sound effects were very well done. Now let's get into the music, and the music in this game wasn't really my vibe. Like, every now and then there were a few songs that I enjoyed, but for the most part the music really wasn't for me. There's probably plenty of people out there who will love this soundtrack, but not so much me. Now let's get into the gameplay mechanics and whatnot, and it's a racing game. It's an arcadey racing game, I should say. This isn't a actual Forza Motorsport game, which is far more sim. Forza Horizon does have some sim elements, but it is overall much more arcadey. You can go into tuning your vehicle to an extent, but it is not to the same degree as the motorsports games. And honestly, a lot of the cars you can basically just buy and drive, and it will work pretty similarly throughout. Admittedly, the vehicles do have different purposes. Some are very clearly meant for off-road, some are meant for street racing. And you take one of those street racers, try and throw it off-road without any modifications or tuning, it's not going to do great, and vice versa. So I thought that was cool. I like that. Not that I've ever been great at any kind of off-road racing games, which is why I did a lot of the street racing. But let's go into that. There is a good variety of racing. You have your street events, you have your circuit events, which those are similar but different. The street events don't have any barricades. Your barricades are buildings, or you may just veer off onto a completely wrong path. Whereas circuit, you can use barricades and whatnot to your advantage, you know, rubbing is racing. Then you have a variety of off-road races as well. The one thing that did disappoint me a bit was I felt like there were races that could have been there and weren't. I didn't find any drift racing. There are some drift challenges, but no drift racing. There are also some drag races, but there were only like 3, I think. There might have been... Yeah, no, I only found 3 anyways. So that was disappointing to me. I wish they had added more. Yeah, I know drag racing isn't necessarily the most exciting, driving a straight line, but I enjoy it all the same. There's also just a good variety of other stuff. There's the speed traps, the speed zones. A lot of the small challenges that have been present for quite a while are still present here, as well as, like I said, those story races. And overall, I just had a lot of fun with the different races, unlocking the different events, playing around with my cars, getting upset that I overperformed a car and couldn't use it in the race that I wanted to use it in, and god damn it. But that's besides the point, that's me. I like the variety of the cars as well, although I did pretty much find my go-to and stick with my go-to for the majority of the game. But to put it simply, I think they provide a great number of races and a good variety in the races. And I'm sure if any of the previous games have shown us what is to come, there will be a lot of content to come. Now let's get into the controls, and I have 0 complaints. I mean, it is that simple. I really don't have any complaints with the controls. I felt they were very responsive. I didn't have any issues with the triggers, with the buttons, anything. I just think the controls are also very well mapped out, so controls, A+. Now the graphics. First thing I'm going to say about the graphics is the humans look like shit, and the, like, motion capture for the face or whatever when they're speaking looks like shit. Fortunately, that is obviously not the focus of this game, and the human parts are pretty minor. It's really the world and the vehicles, and to put it simply, they are beautiful. The cars look phenomenal. They don't take huge amounts of damage, but the damage they do take is very well done. Yes, I tend to beat the shit out of my cars because, like I said earlier, rubbing is racing. But also in this game, since there's off-road elements, there were definitely times where I was throwing myself off roads, and by off-roads I mean sometimes off cliffs. But like the damage your car would take, it wasn't like crazy and over the top, but at the same time, you could get subtle damage as well, and that was the more impressive damage in my opinion. But going beyond that, I just think all the cars were very well modeled. They look incredibly realistic. They were very impressive, as well as the world. I think the world was phenomenal. I love the jungle. I love the cities. I just think all of that was really well designed, and it really impressed me what they did. But even going beyond that, I would say the lighting and the weather effects probably impressed me the most. Whether it was puddles on the ground, raindrops, the sand, the dust, just things like that really impressed me. But the lighting, the glare, the sunset, sunrise, fog, all of that. I think they did a great job marrying the weather and the lighting effects in a very realistic manner, and it really, truly impressed me. So to wrap this up, I think this was an amazing game, visually, gameplay-wise. I just had so much fun with it. I don't necessarily always love racing games, but the Forza Horizon series I have really enjoyed, and I think this is probably the best one yet. So yeah, if you like driving games, not necessarily sim ones, because this isn't a sim one, I recommend this game. I had a lot of fun with it. Okay, so in the comments down below, why don't you tell me what's your go-to car in racing games? Nissan GTR, baby. And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, and if you like what I'm doing in general, share and subscribe. Have a good one.